actually going to be a really fun episode. I want to talk about how you know if God is talking to you. So now a lot of you may have just finished college and may be asking yourself, where do I go in life? And you're praying about it, but you're not really sure what your answer is supposed to be. And you ask God, hey, what's going on? Like, what am I supposed to be doing? And you're not sure if he's giving you an answer. Or maybe you have other people telling you things, maybe about your discernment life, but again, you don't know what you're supposed to listen to. I want to talk through these ideas and figure out how you know if God is actually speaking to you in your life. What I first want to remind you of is that God speaks in very mysterious ways. He can talk to you through someone else. He can talk to you through the silence of prayer. He can send you a message to someone else. Occasionally, he'll actually speak to you. But he'll always work differently, not just for different people, but in different situations. He'll work through what is best applicable. And I'm gonna be real, it's God, so all the time you don't really know what he's saying. Because it's God. He has plans and he knows what he's doing, but you definitely don't understand what's going on because you're not God and you don't know the internal plan for salvation. And I'm not gonna lie, it sucks. I hate when I'm asking God, hey, what do I do with my life? And he's just like, radio silence. You start wondering and asking, hey, God, are you even there? Like, are you telling me something here or am I just being crazy? So you gotta understand what's going on in your life, but at the same time, he doesn't need to answer you all the time. That's the first thing we need to get out of the way. God doesn't answer prayers every single time in a way that is completely noticeable. A line from a movie that's absolutely absurd, but it's a great line, Evan Almighty, yeah, the movie where Michael Scott becomes Noah. God, played by Morgan Freeman, says, God doesn't give you blank, usually gives you opportunities for blank. I think that's the biggest thing to remember is that God, when you say like, hey God, give me patience here, or hey God, give me, strength, he's probably giving you moments in those moments to increase those virtues. So if you're praying for stuff like that, just remember that God is going to be working through those moments to give you what you need. But if you're asking for specific things like, hey God, what do I do with my career? Hey God, what school should I go to? Hey God, should I start YouTubing for a year? Then you're probably wanting a very specific like yes or no answer. Or maybe there are way broader answers he could give. Like if you're asking, hey God, what type of car should I get? I mean, God's obviously gonna say a 1972 Volkswagen bus because it's the greatest car of all time. But other than that one thing, like you never know what God's going to say. More importantly, you don't know how he's gonna say it. So here's what you can do. You know those moments when you ask, hey God, is this actually a sign? Start taking that thing to prayer and asking, hey God, is this a sign of what I'm supposed to do? And don't go in asking God for a question. Just be like, God, I'm here for an answer. You don't want to walk into the adoration chapel like, God, where are you? I need an answer and I need it now. I'm not leaving this chapel until I get an answer to whether I should eat asparagus or Kit Kats for dinner. Go into prayer instead saying, God, your will be done. I just want to know your will. Don't force God to give you an answer because he's not going to answer. Instead, make your heart open and willing for God to say, hey, here it is. Or in some instances to say, you know what? You already know the answer. A lot of times you'll just have to break down a complicated situation and say, you know what? This is where God's pulling my heart. But let's say you have examined that situation and you don't really see where God's pulling you. The next thing I would do is talk to others about it. See, God will often use other people in your life to help you grow. That's why it's so important for Christians to be in a community. So if you're struggling with something, go talk to someone who's holy and who knows you well and say, hey, here's what's going on in my life. I don't know what I'm doing. And they can probably help walk you through it and say, you know what? I think this is where you should go. They won't make the decision for you though, so don't expect that. Instead, allow God's words to flow through them to you and it'll happen. Why? Because God loves you and he wants you to know, but sometimes you already know the answer. Now, if that still doesn't work, then maybe you should be looking for signs. Honestly, I think one of the greatest ways of answering prayer is doing a novena. I've done novenas I think I've kept a novena going for like the last 2 years. Well, then it's not a novena, but like I've done a novena, like once I finish one, I'll take like a short break and then I'll start another one. One of my favorite novenas is the novena to Saint Therese of Lisieux. It's just a fantastic one. That's the one where like if she answers your prayers, you'll get a rose randomly in your life. Never really gotten a rose from it before, but I still feel really at peace because like Saint Therese is my girl. Actually, Mama Mary's my girl, but like Saint Therese is my other girl. And that novena is really cool because it's very much about like centering your heart and focusing on God and focusing on how God works in the small things in your life, and it really gets you centered back onto like, I trust God again. Another great novena, specifically if you're in a relationship or you have like a really sticky time going on in your life, is the one to Our Lady Endure of Knots. This is another one that I absolutely adore, and it's just it helps a lot. See, our leader and doer of knots is the one both the patron saint of like relationships and families and a lot of issues that you could be struggling with. She'll take all those issues and she'll just undo them for you. She'll unknot them. That one's good because it relies back faith in Mary. Also, if you haven't done a Marian consecration, do that. Basically, if you're in time of struggles, start praying. Especially when you pray to the saints and ask the saints, hey, can you please help me? Even if it's in a way you don't know, just them hearing your prayer, they will bring it to God and say, hey, John is in a problem. Can you help him? It's not like you're bothering them. That's what they want to do, is bring more people to heaven through helping people on earth. Above all of these things, make sure that you're also in a state of grace. Go to confession, go to mass, make sure that like you're being as holy as you can be. And if you start to hear voices prodding you in one direction or another, I'm gonna tell you, completely ignore them. Usually a lot of small voices are probably like your subconscious working through something, which could be good, or it could be like some other not as nice force. So if you do hear a voice, just make sure that you start to discern whether that voice is God and bring it back to prayer. Say, God, is this actually your voice? Is this what you want me to do? And remember, at the end of the day, if it's God's will, it's going to happen. If it isn't God's will, it doesn't matter if it happens or not. If you're struggling to understand, hey God, what are you putting me in after you get a decision? That's a topic for another day. Just remember, if you're struggling right now, reach out to people and help them pray for you. It doesn't ever hurt to have other people helping you out. Like for real, if you have something you're struggling with, like that you have an answer about, DM me and I'll pray for you. Heck, I'll include you in the novena I'm doing right now. So remember, God will answer your prayer. You just need to let him do his thing and do it in his own time, in his own way, and just be open to what he throws at you. Because I mean, God's way is the best way, and now that I know he loves me so, his way is the best way, and that's the way for me. I swear, if I start getting sued by VeggieTales for quoting them all the time, I'm gonna be kind of ticked. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube and like the page on Facebook so you don't miss a single episode of the 365 Days of Evangelization. And comment below if you have any thoughts or topics you want me to talk about. I'm always willing to talk about stuff. Like yesterday, I talked about whether homosexuality, the attraction of homosexuality, was a sin. So thank you everybody so much for watching. Let's wrap this up. Remember, as it was in the beginning, is now, never shall be. Rise for the live.